AwardsWatch listeners and readers. This is the new AwardsWatch Podcast. I am your managing editor, Ryan McQuade. This is a very exciting day. A lot of anticipation, a lot of buildup for this episode. Like I just told everyone here, this is probably the most nervous I've ever done a podcast in my life because it means so much that we have everybody here. And I'm not alone in this endeavor. We have Erik Anderson, who owns this whole thing here. Hi, Erik. How are you?
Hello, Ryan. Don't be nervous. We're going to have a lot of fun today.
I didn't pour any alcohol or anything for this, which was probably the first mistake.
Neither did I. So
wow, you're doing this sober?
You're all really pretty lucky.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Erik and I sort of came up with this idea of doing this show, and you know, it would be real boring if it was just me and Erik doing a weekly show about the Oscars and the Emmys and the Tonys and maybe the Grammys. That's if we want to talk about the Grammys, which we probably will down the road. But and then all the other stuff that we love within this entertainment world. So we assembled essentially like an Avengers team, right? Of just great people. And we started with our wonderful television editor, Tyler Doster, who is here. Hi, Tyler.
Hi, Ryan.
It's wonderful to have you on here. Tyler will be here on a couple episodes, but mostly we'll also have him in here on some Emmy-centric episodes since it's right in the heart of Emmy season right now. And I've been like texting Tyler left and right about new shows that I'm trying to catch up on. And he's got great recommendations for everybody out there. But we also have some new contributors to the website. We have some old contributors like Kevin Lee. Kevin, say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone.
There you go. And then we have Sophia Ciminello.
Hi, guys. Excited to be here.
We have Josh Parham.
Hello.
We have Nicole Ackman.
Hi, everybody.
And that's it. That's all we have. We don't have any. Oh, wait. Last but not least, Mr. Dan Bayer.
Proud to be bringing up the rear as always.
This is
if not you, then who else, Dan?
Exactly.
Somebody's got to do it.
This will be our crew for the remaining podcasts. You won't hear everybody on one episode because, as we're going to see today, it might be a little chaotic, like be a little crazy. But that's who we are here at AwardsWatch. And if you want to send us listeners' questions, you can send them all to Erik. He'll send them to me. You can send them to me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all those places. We'll probably set up something where you can email us down the road, some games or whatnot, because that's what we're going to do here. We're going to also not just talk about news and trailers and all that, usual shtick you see on shows. We're going to have some games because we are here today to split everybody up into a team already and pit each other against each other. And blood will be drawn, and whoever comes out alive will have to probably watch something extremely painful. And that's exactly what we want here on this show. So we will get to the game here in a little bit. So everybody's just got a little anticipation for that. So what we do have is some listener questions already. First episode, some listener questions. Are you guys ready for it?
Let's do it.
All right.
Go.
All right. So our first listener question comes from Joey Moser. Everybody knows Joey, right? Everybody here knows Joey.
Oh yeah, we love Joey.
Yeah.
Do you wish studios position their Oscar titles for the summer to offer variety? If so, do you think that there's a specific strategy they should follow in order to have those films be remembered throughout the year? Old lady, we'll start with you, Erik. Answer the question for Joey.
What an audacious and auspicious debut, Ryan. Thank you. Thank you for your question, Joey. This is something that we talk about pretty much every single year. Why is everything a fall release? Why are we locked into these being such a small window for Academy viewers and for everything else? And especially when it seems like a movie needs to actually generate buzz over at least some portion of time to be able to, become a main contender. And the studios get more scared and more skittish instead of braver every year. So it would have to be, I don't know, somebody would really have to stick their necks out for it. Apple winning with Coda as an August release might be enough for somebody to consider it. But, when we take a look at the studios and their major contenders this year, we're seeing exactly the same. We're seeing October, November, December.
Yeah, it's a kind of a shame because then it makes like the season only feel like we have like 3 months of the movie year, right? Right, Dan? And like it feels like we only get this amount of time starting in September. I tell you, right, and that's it. That's the only chance you can win an Oscar. But like Eric said, Coda just won Best Picture, and it was in August, and technically it was like a Sundance premiere too. So, I mean, maybe things are a little bit hopeful for something like that.
I mean, maybe, but it also like, I think it all depends on the movie, right? I think you have to put, like, for example, and I think this was always the case, like even if it had come out when it was supposed to in 2020, Dune was always scheduled for the fall in the like late October, early November slot, even though everything about it, they could have very easily released it in summer. They could have released that in June, July, August, and it probably would have made just as much money, if not more. And it still would have been nominated for all those Oscars. So, open it where it seems appropriate for that movie. If it feels like a summer movie, there is no reason not to release it in summer.
Yeah. Sophia, do you think that from what we've seen so far this year, there's a movie maybe out there that could possibly break into the Oscar race that's right now?
That's coming this summer?
Or maybe that's right now. That's already released within the first 4 months of the year since,
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that some people would say Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm not going to go down that path just yet. I'm a little wary of that. But I will say
a trick question.
It was a trick question. Yeah, I could tell. But I do think that if we're thinking of Apple, Chow Chow Real Smooth definitely has that potential, being a festival darling, coming out in June. Apple's next big player. I mean, they do have Killers of the Flower Moon also coming in the fall in that prime spot. But anything can happen. I mean, going back to the question too, I wish we would get some of those fall movies in the summer to kind of spice up that lineup, but I'm definitely used to summertime being blockbuster time, and fall is when I get my adult dramas that I've been wanting. So a lot of times I do spend the summer like catching up on, classic Hollywood films that I've missed or rewatches and having some fun at the movies in a different way, kind of away from awards.
Yeah. So this is a good conversation because it kind of ties into another listener question that we got from Joe Lorazini. And he was talking about, do you think all the rules, or I guess all the stats that were broken at this year's Oscars was a fluke, or was that like a fundamental change of the landscape? And so I guess it kind of goes back to this question that all of us that love stats and love statistics over the last couple of years, and there's this evolving academy. Nicole, do you think that last year is a fluke, or do we need a little bit more time to see if it was or wasn't?
I think, first of all, I will be the first to admit that I'm not a stats person, which has worked well for me in the past. But I do think that because there have been some changes, not just in the type of things that have won, but we have more costume design nominees now. We have more makeup design nominees now. We have, having the set sort of locked in number of best pictures. I think that inherently breaks some of the stats around how many nominations something gets and what can get into best picture. And I think it's things like that, for one thing, that have sort of influenced how certain stats no longer matter. But I do think that we know that the Academy in its membership is changing. And I think we really are starting to see some of the effects of that. And I think that some of these younger people and more diverse people maybe are more willing to consider the sort of films that wouldn't have been perhaps 10 years ago. So I do think that the stats obviously are helpful, but I think being married to stats is never a good idea whenever you can sort of see where public opinion is, where it seems like the people who are in the academy are at. I don't think there's something to live by. I think that they are always breakable.
Josh, are you a big stats guy? I feel like because you are one of the wisest people I know when it covers this like, I would feel like stats are usually your thing, but I'm like listening to some of your stuff over the last couple of years. It feels like you're leaning more towards gut feelings and reactions. And I guess that's sort of where the academy is sort of leaning, is just that they're not looking at those stats and statistics. They're just going with their heart. And I think that that's where a lot of our predictions are going to go from here on out, hopefully. So maybe that does open up the possibility of something from earlier in the year jumping into the awards race.
Yeah, my opinion is always that every Oscar race is an opportunity to learn from the future. And these things are very like malleable to me. I rely on stats if it's like very close for something, but overall you do have to just take the entire season as it is. And I think that we are sort of getting into a spot now where these preconceived notions about what can win Best Picture are sort of going out the window. And when it comes to something that's released earlier in the year, like, it's not just about those movies always just looking at the fall festival season, but the other issue is just the competition. You know, you're getting drowned out by these big movies, and it's hard to make money that way. You know, oftentimes the first step of an Oscar campaign is to make money. And there's only so many like smaller counter programming stuff you can do during the summer. And I don't know if that like recalibration is going to happen in the future, but I still think that last year is a very good example that you really just need to pay attention to how the movie performs and how it's connecting with people. And that is going to happen regardless of when it's released. And if it happens enough, then it's not just a fluke, it's a trend. So we kind of need to wait and see, but I definitely think we are in an era now where a lot of things that we thought were set about an Oscar race are changing for sure.
Yeah. Kevin, you love the Oscars. It's like your bread and butter. It's like the favorite thing that you love about the world, being totally facetious. Kevin, what do you think about all this too? And like, because you're from an outsider's perspective, I'm not looking at it every single day like the rest of us. So what do you think about possibilities of things changing, or hopeful? Are you more hopeful that maybe because of the box office of Everything Everywhere All at Once, because Coda wins Best Picture, that possibly that we could have a year represented by an entire release schedule rather than just like when Telluride and Venice start?
Yeah, it's really interesting because I was one of the few vocal people on Twitter who could not be happier to see Coda winning, because I'm a big fan of the narrative that comes from that victory. I felt like, especially in the past couple years, but especially the last year, I felt like streaming platforms really, really benefited in this awards race. And I feel like it would only continue in terms of trend, what Josh was talking about, of it being a trend. I also agree with what Josh said about it's more about the quality of the film and whether that film is speaking to its audience. Because like I hear people every once in a while on Twitter talking about some stat that's not favoring the film or some stat that is favoring this film. And sometimes I go, yeah, like I can't deny facts, but like, do you not hear a loud vocal group who don't like that movie? Or do you not hear that everyone is talking about this one movie right now? You know, that kind of thing.
Just say my name, Kevin.
No, it's not you, Eric. It's not you, Eric. As for movies that could potentially be Oscar players that come out in the summer, I would like to see more of that. But it's more, I feel like movies that come out during the summer versus movies that come out in the fall and winter, it's just a very different, I think there's a very different mind setting as to what audiences are looking for during the summer versus during the winter. And if you were to just like swap positions, that would actually be a very interesting kind of, you know, alternate universe kind of thing to see how do the summer movies perform if you literally just drop them into the winter and then vice versa. But every once in a while, there are some exceptions, you know. I mean, if you look at the 2015 to 2016 Oscar race, the movie that won the most Oscars that year was Mad Max Fury Road, and that movie came out in May. You know, so it's it is really about like, does the movie resonate enough to the point where it can hold its ground throughout an entire year? Kind of like Coda did. I mean, it premiered at Sundance and it managed to hold its ground for like over an entire year. So we'll see.
I always feel like there's one or two films from the beginning half of the year that always break in, and usually they're bigger titles, maybe from, you know, bigger directors, or they're bigger spectacles, like you mentioned, Mad Max, or something like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is another example, or
Black Panther.
Black Panther.
Yeah.
But Coda was so interesting because it premiered at Sundance. Sundance hadn't had a winner yet, and then it premieres in August. Almost felt like they just dumped it on a streaming platform that, you know, is still very limited to so many people, and yet now they're going to have Cha-Cha Real Smooth, and they're going to have the next Martin Scorsese film, and it's, you know, they're going to probably have to do more things in the theater. Meanwhile, over at Netflix, you know, whether you want to jump the ship from that streaming platform or not right now is, you know, I think Netflix will still be around for a while. We'll see, but it is interesting. So I think that will be an evolving conversation that we talk about over the next couple of weeks, Joey and Joe. Thank you for those questions. And I do want to kick over to Tyler this new question, which I found interesting, what Kevin Jacobson, our friend and contributor over at AwardsWatch, asked, which is, which of this year's limited series from television should have just been a movie? Because, you know, nowadays these things are like 10 episodes long, and they really should. And some series that are supposedly started out as maybe like limited series, then they end up having like 6 more seasons that nobody wanted. So Tyler, is there anything this year that you've seen so far that you're like, wow, this should have probably just been a movie, or maybe just ended after one season?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. I know everyone right now, the last episode of The Girl from Plainville is going to be coming out this week. That one, to me, it feels a little unnecessary in some ways. There are some nuanced ways that it looks at that case and assisted suicide. But after watching all of it, I would really say that it could have just been a hot 2-hour movie. And I feel the same way about Inventing Anna, which came out in February. That one becomes so repetitive about pretty much every plot device that they hit in the show. It felt like episodes 4 through 8 didn't even need to happen. So I would say that those two are the biggest ones. Because like you said, we do have a lot more limited series now. But those are the two that jump to mind when I think of what could have been a movie this year.
Nicole, do you add one?
Yes, I really liked Pam and Tommy, but I also really believe it would have been better off as a film dropping the plot line that is not centered around the characters of Pam and Tommy, because so many people I've talked to thought that everything that was not Lily James was boring. And I don't know if I would go as far as boring, but I do think that it would have been better off if it was totally centered around the character of Pam and have been like a 2.5-hour film.
Interesting. Anybody else have one?
I just want to say I love that Nicole mentioned Pam and Tommy, because that was one of my most anticipated movies of that year until I read Erik's review of it and realized it wasn't a movie. And I was like, oh, okay. Well,
no, now I have to
know what I'm not watching tonight.
Give 7-8 hours of my time now. Dan, you had one?
I do. And although this kind of straddles the line, I think, between limited series and not, but I think both seasons that exist now of Russian Doll are basically one story that has sort of been arbitrarily cut out into 30-minute chunks. And it is one of those things that's kind of almost designed to be binged, because each episode really leads into the next one. But because they're each only max half hour, you end with a 2.5 to 3 hour movie, basically. And that's what the season is.
Yeah.
Why couldn't it have been a movie that was released in theaters and got Natasha Lyonne an Oscar nomination? I don't know. But
or it could have just been on Netflix and just been a movie.
Yeah, or just no one would have remembered it. It is so much fun that I don't care what form we got it in, but that was always fun, that like this just is a movie that has been broken into 30-minute chunks.
Interesting. All right. Next question. Gert Van Brack asks, which category had the best / most deserving winners of the last 10 years at the Oscars? Any category. Doesn't have to be best picture or actors. You guys, the last 10 years. So
the last 10 years?
Yeah.
I think, and I don't know, this sounds like kind of an easy answer, but just thinking about it, I would probably say visual effects. They kind of go for the obvious ones, but I would say that for the most part, like those winners tend to line up with my own personal selections. And if not, they're not that far off and are very deserving. So it's like an easy category, I think, to get a deserving winner, but I would say that is the one that has had the best track record so far.
Yeah, I'd say
Similarly-
cinematography.
Yeah, cinematography recently has been really, really strong.
Sophia's shaking her head. She's going, no. Why, Sophia? Why not cinematography?
I am so good. The winner of cinematography this year, that was a tough one for me.
Oh, okay.
Dune was
okay.
my 5th in the category, and I really wanted to see Ari Wegner pull it off. So I think there's a lot of history to be made in cinematography, but it's not happening. And a lot of times I see cooler wins there, I think, with the guilds, but where I'll get one nomination that I'll really love, but the winner sometimes feels like a check the box choice.
I'm still
I
upset
feel like-
about Mank.
I love-
there we
Oh,
go.
yeah, okay, fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we're talking about
like
just
I always,
winners,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I always like the costume design winners just
Yeah.
because I feel like those are always pretty worthy nominees. And I feel like that's just a category too. I love costume design, so I'm just always happy to see people recognize. And it's also a category that we actually have some, I think maybe a majority of female winners, which is fun. It's the only category other than, actress and supporting actress that you consistently have women in. So
Yeah.
I'm with Nicole there. I think costume design is always pretty adventurous and fun. And you're exactly right. It's definitely going to have more female winners than anybody else. And we get really fun history and records from people like Sandy Powell. So I'm all for that.
Yeah. Or Ruthie Carter winning an Oscar.
Yeah, Ruthie Carter.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. Yeah. And I'm sorry, Josh, but I do love that Mank win. I love that Mank win.
That's a
Love it.
horrible win.
Actually, it's
a
terrible.
horrible,
but
Not a
Team
fan.
Josh.
win.
Yeah.
But you
Do
know
not
which
like that win.
what hasn't been terrible recently is best score.
Score's been pretty good. Yeah.
At least the winners have. The
Yeah.
nominees have been like
yeah.
iffy, but the winners have been pretty strong recently.
And I will say this.
For the most part.
I will say this. For the most part, picture has been pretty good the last 10 years. Like give or take maybe one or two. But
I'm really glad someone finally brought up picture, because I didn't want to be that guy who brings up picture and then everyone says, but Green Book, Kevin.
I have not loved pictures wins in the last 10 years, but they're not
I don't
terrible.
But I do want to echo what Ryan said about picture, because in the last 10 years, we got some pretty cool wins.
Not
we got
everything's perfect.
Moonlight,
Yeah.
We got Moonlight, we got Spotlight, we got Parasite, we got Nomadland. Those are cool wins.
Yeah.
Those are
Yeah,
really,
the
really cool wins.
preferential ballot era has taken us to a very different place. And I feel like there is more consistency with, I guess, at least the types of movies that we like. So we can say, yes, it's been a really good 10 years,
Yeah.
except for Green Book.
I want to throw international feature out too.
Yeah.
Just thinking about like Drive My Car, Parasite, Roma. We have some really strong movies that win there.
Another round.
Yeah. And I think that, yes, the lineups, like the nominees, can be pretty Eurocentric, but we are seeing some change come through. And often, I mean, the past couple of years, I've really liked the winners. They've been in my top 10 list for the year.
For sure.
That's a good
Right.
one. Yeah.
Moving on. Next question. And this ties into one of our big topics that we were going to talk about today. So Kinsey Vanunu, big friend of the show. Everybody loves Kinsey. She asks, what news out of CinemaCon had you most excited this past week? It was a big week at CinemaCon. I mean, my God, there were so many films that were announced, and we got no footage basically whatsoever. You had to be in the room in order to see it. I think that the thing that really struck the internet a lot was, well, one was the Barbie photo of Margot Robbie, the fact that Avatar exists, the fact that I'm just saying that it exists. All right, folks.
Okay.
I'm not saying anything else. I'm just saying
footage was shown.
Footage was shown. I mean, how many years? It's like James Cameron was the George R.R. Martin of the cinematic world, where it was like,
he can take all the time he needs.
He can, worth it. Absolutely.
And some of us are going to see that tomorrow.
Yeah, some of us.
Well, actually, today, if you're listening to this,
exactly.
Yeah.
The trailer in front of Doctor Strange, which, Eric, like you said, that rarely happens at screenings.
I was saying one of the things that I really do miss about going to press screenings is that
say it the way you said it. You said
How
it.
did I say it?
You said, and I quote, "What I miss about experiencing movies with the normies is how."
Damn it, Ryan. You're gonna make me sound like an elitist.
Oh, because you aren't.
Which I am, but still. No, I do. It's you sit down for your press screening, and then the movie starts, and that's it. And I love trailers. I love trailers. Period. Not only just to see what's coming up, but I want to see if AW has a quote, and I can be like, "Hey, what's up, Kevin? You're in this trailer," and that's fun. It's cool. So it's really quite something that we're getting to see the trailer before a press screening.
I will say that I usually don't like trailers anymore. I've started to go in as blind as possible to movies, especially movies I really anticipate. But for spectacle, for big movies like this, even if it's Avatar, I kind of want to see like what's the new world? Like, why did it take you 12 years, dude? To make all this and make 4 movies, and can't wait to The Way of the Water. Wonderful. But then there were a bunch.
Wasn't Kinsey's question about whether Lady Gaga is going to win the Oscar for Top Gun?
There was that too.
The answer is obviously yes.
Well, they did premiere the film. That's
the thing that we should be talking about is that we had little snippets or like a picture. They showed the whole damn movie of Top Gun.
Do you think Cannes probably a little pissed off that they showed the whole damn movie there?
Maybe, but I don't think a lot. I
don't think they care.
There,
yeah.
I mean, they're getting Tom Cruise. Yeah,
they're getting. Exactly. And I think he presented the film for the CinemaCon audience via from a plane. Hanging out of a plane because he's still shooting the new Mission Impossible. I swear that man's gonna die soon. He's gonna die on set. And I mean, okay, sure. We'll all be there opening weekend to see that if that's the case. But I don't know. Like, was there something for everyone around here? Well, obviously, the other big thing that happened there was some court documents. But other than that, that's we don't have to talk about that.
My favorite.
Dan, was there any announcement for you that stuck out and was just there was the one where you're like, yeah, I want to see that film based off of that reaction?
I genuinely, other than Avatar being proven to be real, finally, is the genuinely the thing that piqued my interest most was not the picture but the plot synopsis for Barbie. Mm-hmm. Which it sounds like this is going to be Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie's Enchanted. Mm-hmm. And I could not possibly be more here for that. I think that is a really smart way to go about doing it. And I think that Greta's sensibility as a writer combined with Margot's talents as an actress, that makes perfect sense. And it made me much more excited to see what they end up doing with that movie than I was before.
I'm totally with Dan on that, and that they're shooting it on London sound stages.
Yeah,
just it's going to be exciting. Like hyper real and totally. I'm super excited.
Yeah, Sophia, was there an announcement this week for you that really excited you?
Yeah, I'm really excited for the movie Tar, which is the Todd Field film with Kate Blanchett. She's playing this a fictional character, but she's a renowned and groundbreaking conductor who becomes the first woman to lead a major German orchestra. That sounds really exciting. I love In the Bedroom, and I really liked Little Children as well. So I feel like this will be really good award season content for us too. And I'm just excited to see what he's made here.
Yeah.
Talk about somebody who's taken a long time to
Yes,
have
right.
a follow-up.
Right?
Exactly.
I'm about like, an auteur that I'm actually anticipating his new film
Yeah.
for. Kevin, how about yourself?
You don't want to know what I'm excited about.
Just say it. I know what it is. I know what it is. Say it.
It's like the past 2 weeks I've been feeling like, why the hell are of all the movies to get excited about, why is it Avatar and Jurassic World Dominion that I'm like really excited to see? No, it's funny because like specifically when it comes to Avatar Way of Water, it's like I have not been excited about it at all during the entire time. I am a fan of the first movie, but even for me, like that movie's hype is sort of just dies down when it came out on Blu-ray. It was like, wow, this experience is already like just nowhere close to what I felt when I saw it in the theater in 3D for the first time, you know? And so it's like, he's making another one. Okay, I guess fine. But makes sense though, because it's an original idea. He's got a whole planet to work with, so he could create anything, you know. But I've never really been, you know, like hyped about it, you know. But then once this whole announcement went down and we realized like this movie is actually real and it's actually happening, and that there's going to be a trailer that they're going to show in front of Doctor Strange, and here are 4 stills from the movie, I was like, oh my God, like I want to see this now. And like it was like a very sudden surge of excitement. And I kind of felt that way too with when I saw the trailer, the most recent trailer for Jurassic World Dominion, which I really felt like, wow, this entire trailer is better than all of Fallen Kingdom. And I want to see this now.
Tyler?
I am excited. We got our first, I didn't, but apparently we got our first footage or trailer for Bros, the Billy Eichner movie that'll be coming out later this year. I'm very excited to see an all openly LGBTQ cast. And apparently the footage that they saw was pretty funny. So that's what I'm excited for at a CinemaCon.
Yes, gay content. Give it to me.
Yeah.
Nicole?
Well, this is not gay content, but camp.
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough.
I am so excited for Wonka.
Yes.
Especially after
Songs.
I heard someone say it does have Paddington energy, which is what I was hoping for.
Well, the director
But
Paddington.
also, exactly. So I was really hoping that was true. But also, apparently, Timothée Chalamet sings "You Have Never Had Chocolate Like This," and then does a little dance and heads down a pothole, was what I heard.
Sure.
And that is what I look for.
It's like a normal Tuesday for him. Yeah.
Exactly. Every photo I see from set, the fact that they filmed like on location in the UK, so excited.
I'm also very, very into Olivia Colman in her villain era. So
Yes.
very much.
Yes.
I can't wait for that movie. I love the Paddington movies. I mean, it's no secret. I mean, if you don't love the Paddington movies, you're a monster.
Especially Paddington 2.
Oh, God.
That is
movie.
a superior film. It is nearly perfect.
The
Yeah.
best
As
movie
Nicolas
of all time.
Cage learns in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Yes.
Yep.
It's
Yes,
the
yes,
Babe Pig City and the Pig in the City 2.
Yeah.
To Babe.
Yep. Josh, was there a movie you were excited about from CinemaCon?
I don't know if I would say necessarily excited, but I am still very intrigued about Babylon, and mostly because Damien Chazelle, I do like him overall, but I don't find myself actually loving him as much as the internet seems to. Like, I really liked Whiplash, but La La Land was okay. I didn't hate it, but I wasn't in love with it. And First Man was also sort of another one that I liked, but I wasn't falling in love with that either. So
Okay.
I'm curious about what this one is going to be, mostly also because much of the reporting is about all the big stars in it, but I'm really fascinated about the actual lead actor who played by, Diego Calva. We haven't really heard anything about him, which is kind of disappointing because that's actually something I'm more excited about. So I'm interested in this first little tidbit that we got, but I am curious to know more about what the real story is going to be and specifically what the perspective of the story is going to be.
Yeah. I mean, what is it? Tobey Maguire as Charlie Chaplin. Love seeing that kind of range.
No, he's not.
He's not?
No, there's an enormous amount of
what is
misinformation and disinformation that's been going around.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Thanks to Reddit and stuff like that, because people are using old scripts and well, I have read this screenplay and this is how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there was a test screening just recently in March, and I am always cautious of all of that now, but I mean, Margot Robbie's not playing Clara Bow. No one is playing the people that Variety tweet said that they are playing. They are playing stand-in versions of them. Charlie Chaplin, Anna May Wong, all of them. They're not actually them.
Okay.
So yeah, one of the things that kind of erupted from that was a lot of people that got really mad that Diego Calva was not mentioned, because so little has been really mentioned and talked about the movie. And I need to wait and see what it is. It is, from my understanding, his entry point is our entry point to the story. He's kind of works his way through Hollywood as an immigrant, and then kind of bounces around between all these stand-ins for 1920s Hollywood people. But we have a ways to go before it's seen and people know real information.
I'm a simple man. I like simple things, and so that of course means that I was extremely excited about the tidbits of news we got about the new Mission Impossible films and John Wick, because I love those movies, because I think that those are the best running franchises working today in terms of practical effects and giving the audience bang for their buck. And speaking of the course of that too, is hearing more footage for Nope and hearing Jordan Peele talk about that film. I just, that's my most anticipated film of the summer, I think. I'm looking forward to that film. There were some other films like the latest Halloween film, Halloween Ends, so then that thing can end. Black Phone premiered some stuff there. Across the Spider-Verse gave some more footage. The Woman King, Bullet Train. There are a couple other things too. And then there was also this week an announcement that we're not getting one Wicked film. We're getting two, right? So
ain't nobody got time for that.
Nope. No. Just too fast, too wicked. Yeah.
It's not a long musical.
No, it's not. It's just Hollywood making dumb choices. Okay, last question, and then we will get to our big game today. And we have Cannes right around the corner. Speaking of movies, speaking of Top Gun Maverick, which will be out there at Cannes, and a bunch of other films from the summer and some films that we're looking forward to. Oscar Central asked, what film do you think is winning the Palme d'Or this year? It's a big question, since a lot of stuff is sight unseen. Randomizer goes to Erik Anderson. Yeah, we'll start with Erik, because I saw the terror in his eyes for the question.
There's no terror. It's going to be a really exciting race, and everything.
It really is. What is there? 18 films, right, in competition?
19, but they just added a few more, but none that are going to be particularly competitive. I mean, we have huge, major names and previous winners, and I think we're sort of, just like with the Oscar race, we're going to be looking to those names as the front runners, and it's inevitable that that's going to happen. You're going to have, Ruben Östlund and Koreeda. I mean, there are too many. There are too many. Park Chan-wook, I think, is probably where I would lean today.
Yeah.
Decision lead.
Decision.
We also have to look at who the jury is too.
Of course. Yeah. And you never know if you're going to have a jury president that is extremely strong or more democratic, because it changes every year.
Speaking of which, they announced that it's Vincent London is the president, and which I thought it was going to be one of the jurors on the list. I thought it was going to be actually Oscar Fahari was going to be the president.
Because that's what it was.
Yeah, and
he was the president.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Nope. And then everything, you can all read all about that everywhere else. So that was a surprising pick. It's a great lineup. I was surprised, like Jeff Nichols being on there. That was the one name I was like, really? Okay, cool, interesting. He didn't have anything to do this month. So
I'll say this though, people can't attach too much, even who the president of a jury is with like their style of films, with what you think that they're going to pick, because it's often absolutely the opposite. And I think a lot of directors gravitate not to things that are similar to what they make. They gravitate to the things that they absolutely can't make, wouldn't make, that speak to them in a way that is not their style.
Yeah. Dan, do you have a gut feeling as to what might win the Palme?
I almost never go with a gut feeling at con until we see the reactions to the movies. I would laugh if it's the Dardennes again. I don't know how that just they all have a hard on for them so much. I don't understand it. The person that I really would love for it to be, but I don't think it's going to be, is Cronenberg.
Yeah.
I love him, think he should have one. I don't think this is going to be the movie with this jury to do it.
Yeah. Sophia?
Yeah, I'm going with Erik. I feel like Decision to Leave, Park Chan-wook feels right now. He's already won the Grand Prix for Old Boy, and he's had a few of his films premiere in competition for the Palme before. So if this film is strong, and I'm guessing it's going to be, this feels like it could be the right time for him to win.
And let's be honest, The Handmaiden should have won.
Yeah, we were talking about this movie a year ago as a potential 2020 release, and where that might actually be able to fit into the Oscar race. So I just feel like it's at this point, before anything, it's a good thing to do. And at least we don't have a Ken Loach film, because
God,
that man's won enough.
I mean, I'm saying at least we don't have a Godard film.
Oh God,
because those are unwatchable.
Josh, what do you think's winning Palme d'Or right now?
I think that Decision to Leave was a very, very good early guess. I kind of go back and forth between it and Broker, the Koreeda film. So I'll say Broker just to kind of give a different answer. But I feel like in my sort of early intuition, I would look between those two.
Mm-hmm. Nicole?
I do not have any thoughts on this, to be quite honest.
That's what we love. No thoughts on this show. That's what we love.
I feel like I just cannot guess what this jury is going to do until I know something about these movies.
Yeah, it's hard to do that when we don't have any information really, and we don't know how they're going to be received by the jury, by the audience. It's really difficult to figure that out because the jury changes every year.
Yeah, and sometimes it will happen that something that has a lot of buzz or we think is going to do really well going into it gets terrible reviews, and it still gets a big prize anyway.
Yeah. Tyler,
you never know.
Yeah, there's times when there's those 10-minute standing ovations and everybody loves it, and then it gets nothing at the end.
Yeah. Tyler, do you have one? Are you following the canned stuff already?
Kinda. I would go with Josh. I think that maybe Broker.
Yeah. Broker sound because he just won for Shoplifters too, so it would be right in their wheelhouse.
That's not without precedent to win again so soon, and they do sort of work their way around that by having it be a jury of different people every year. So you never know what they're going to do.
Yeah. Kevin,
pretty much agree with everyone who has already spoken. That I think those two, Broker and Decision to Leave, are probably the front runners, which is why I just sort of think about which movies I'm personally rooting for. So I'm rooting for Showing Up, the new Kelly Reichardt.
Yes.
And I am also rooting for Cronenberg for Crimes of the Future.
Yes.
because I am always down for a Titan 2.0.
I'm rooting for Claire Denis, and just the fact that she is here is a miracle.
Yes, because they do not like her.
They have been so mean to her.
Her most recent movie that's coming to theaters soon is not good.
I haven't seen it, but
so hopefully this one is better.
Kind of looking forward to it now that everyone's like, it's not good. I'm like, no, it's going up the list of things in priority.
Way to be a contrarian.
I just well, no, everyone says something's bad or not good. You kind of are like, now I want to check that out.
Hey, Joey Gentili.
Be careful, he might show up. But no, I think that it'll be interesting if the jury makes a statement by giving it to any female director, given the fact of Cannes controversies about female, representation within the lineup, and there's supposed to be a 50-50 split, and there's not a 50-50 split, and there's all this things that they've said and they're not doing it. Like Eric said, though, one of the three female directors in competition is a director that they have not had like a really great relationship with, and I would love to see Kelly Reichardt win any award because I think she's a brilliant filmmaker. Decision to Leave is my most anticipated film left this year. I cannot wait for that film to come out because I'm such a big fan of Old Boy, and The Handmaiden's a masterpiece, and there's just so much. This is the one year too where I'm just jealous that I'm not there, because all the movies that I want to see are like coming out, and we'll get them over the summer and obviously fall festivals and stuff for some of them. So I'm looking forward to seeing if any of our picks are correct or not. But speaking of the summer, it's about time. We might as well do it, guys. That's what we've all been waiting for. We'll get away from those listener questions. We'll get into the nitty gritty of what we're really doing here for our first episode here at the AwardsWatch Podcast, which is we are doing a 2022 summer movie draft. We have 8 people here, so it's 2 teams of 4. And essentially what we're going to be doing is we're going to be picking movies, but we're not just going to be picking movies based off what we want to see, because there would probably half these titles would not be on our list. We are picking films that we think are going to do well with critics, but also what's going to do well at the box office. And basically, for all you listeners out there, how we're going to be doing points is film's going to have a budget, and whatever that budget is, we could do multipliers and times 2 and all that stuff, but that's just a lot of math. So whatever the budget is set at, every $1 million that the film makes over that budget is a point for that team. Every point between an average of Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes critic scores over 60%, the team will gain a point. Now, for every movie, for every $1 million that movie does not make under its budget, they will lose 2 points. The team will lose 2 points. And every below average film that's under 60%, for every point that film will also lose 2 points. Bonus points will go to the team that picks the number 1 grossing box office film of the summer, and bonus points will go to the team that picks the highest rated film of the summer as well. Sorry, streamers, you're not in this competition. It was a much debated question, but we can't determine what Netflix and Amazon's number would equal in box office, nor would we want to. And given the fact that recent news about like streaming numbers and sharing all that, we're just going to take that out of the equation. You have to be in the theaters. That's kind of, I know it sounds rude, but it's just the way that the game kind of works for now. So the team.
And Ryan, can you tell the listeners if we are working with US domestic box office or worldwide international box office?
That's a really good question, Eric.
I know.
And I was going to get to that. Thank you. We are doing the whole enchilada this go round. Maybe next time we will do domestic, but we will be doing the worldwide box office, just so that everyone is involved, because we won't want to exclude any of our listeners across the oceans, right? So there you go. Worldwide box office indeed. The teams are myself, Nicole Ackman, Tyler Doster, and Josh Parham versus Erik Anderson, Sophia Ciminello, Dan Bayer, and Kevin Lee. And there may have been strategizing throughout the weeks from both sides. There might have been a little trash talk already, especially by Erik. And just been a lot of fun to do this so far. So we're here, and we're going to have 5 picks. Each team's going to pick 5 films. And then the last pick of the game will be a bomb pick. What we are going to, each team will pick a film for the other team that we think is going to bomb, both critically or maybe commercially, or maybe both. And they got to live with it. They don't get to choose that one. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll, by the end of the summer, tally up all the votes. And the winning team, gets to decide a film that the losing team has to review on this show. Now, they could be nice, but knowing this group, it's not going to be a nice pick. It's going to be probably a bad movie. It's probably going to be something that we all are dreading deep down inside. And I believe the other team, Erik's team, knows what film that they're going to select. Correct? Is that right?
Yeah.
No comment.
No comment. Okay. It was like a long delay. Erik, this is an audio podcast. It's not visual. So you're leaning in and dramatic.
Oh,
pause.
yeah.
That's right. Well, we may or may not reveal that when we're done with all the picks. So I already flipped a coin while we were doing this, and team 2, which is Erik's team, goes first in this. I just can't believe that it already has gone without a way. So Erik, I assume that you are the team captain for your team, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, but I would like each of us to be able to make picks. As they come. But I will go ahead and go first.
Okay.
And we choose Lightyear.
Wow. Okay. Any explanation why you're picking Lightyear?
Because it's going to be the biggest hit of the year, and also probably do well critically and international box office for like Toy Stories, or over $1 billion. So yeah, I think when you're talking about IPs, and we have a lot of IPs this year, it's a pretty good one.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. It's an interesting pick. I did not expect that to be the first film taken off the board, but congratulations, you're already losing. Anyway, that's beside the point. I personally, for my team, I'm going to make this pick. I'm the first one up here. And, you got to go with probably something safe, but probably something that's going to do well, too, with critics. And I think that'll be Thor, Love and Thunder will be the film that I select there. Listen, like the last one did pretty well critically. It's regarded as one of the better films in the MCU. The trailer just came out. It's got the Guardians in it. Who doesn't love the Guardians? It's got Natalie Portman as Thor. It's going to have Christian Bale, former Batman himself, playing the villain. I mean,
it has Tessa Thompson in a suit.
There you go. It's got, looks like more Korg and Meek than the last time. Taika Waititi, obviously coming off of winning an Oscar. The film did both well critically as well as commercially. So I think Thor, Love and Thunder will do very well for us. All right, Erik, who is next to pick for you guys? Sophia is. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Sophia raised her hand. So Sophia, you're up. What are you guys picking?
Yeah. So I'm going to say on my podcast, Oscar Wilds, we do a draft, and it's all about strategy, how you can get the most points based on the rules that the creator made. Mm-hmm. And for that reason, I don't care about the critics for this pick. We are going with Jurassic World Dominion.
All right.
Is that the name of it?
Yeah, yes. That is. You are correct. You are correct. Yes.
Actually, it is called Laura Dern Dominion.
Yeah.
There we go. I think this movie's we think this movie's going to make a lot of money and going to be a global phenomenon. People love dinosaurs. They are universal, and they love this franchise.
The amount of money this franchise continues to make, despite the critics being so down on it, is astounding.
It's also got a great comeback story for Colin Trevorrow, right? Because who wants to have a comeback story for that guy. All right. That's a good pick. Those are good picks to start off. Lightyear and Jurassic World Dominion. All right. I believe next on my team is Josh Parham. So Josh, have at it, sir.
Yeah, so our next pick is going to be right out the gate, Doctor Strange. It's the first one to come out in the summer. You're going to have the Spider-Man kind of bump from it. And because it's so early, it's going to have a lot of time to build up a huge lead. So, yeah, 2 Marvel movies right out the gate for us.
Yeah. At least we know, Josh, that we will have very financially successful films. And for the most part, like, the Marvel films do pretty well with critics, and it's going to be like a return for Raimi. And
oh yeah, I mean, most Marvel movies are like as worst they get are it's fine, which is still positive on Rotten Tomatoes. So
yeah, and we at the time of recording we see it tomorrow, so most of us do. So we'll report back and see if that was a good pick or not. Probably will be anyway, but regardless.
It's going to be interesting to see how Marvel movies do in certain international markets this year, though.
Mm-hmm.
That is
very interesting.
It will be interesting. I think they'll do very, very well. Because it's Marvel. So,
sure.
Yeah. Erik, your team is next. 3rd pick of this draft. What do you guys got?
Okay, Dan, would you like to go next?
I would love to go next because I love the stars of our 3rd pick. And this is another one where, despite not being so critically adored, audiences flock to see those little yellow minions, which is why our 3rd pick is Minions: The Rise of Gru. Because let's be honest, those cute little bundles of banana yellow fluff are universal.
Those are bananas?
Banana colored.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, those movies make an insane amount of money.
They really do.
$1 billion baby bananas.
Yeah, $1 billion.
$1 billion baby bananas. Yeah.
Literally holding up Illumination Studios on their non-existent shoulders.
For sure. That's a good pick. Critically, maybe not so much, but in terms of box office, the movie is probably gonna make a crap ton of money. So we'll see. All right. I believe for my crew next, it is Tyler. So Tyler, why don't you give him what our next pick is?
We decided on this one because his first 2 movies have been critically successful and commercially successful. Jordan Peele's Nope has an amazing cast that's going to come out this year, and I expect that people will actually go see this movie because they are very into what he's going to do, and critics seems to like him also.
And he's cheap. He does not spend a lot of money on his movies either.
People love horror movies. Horror movies do really well as also I feel like Jordan Peele is one of our last event filmmakers that we have where anyone will go see his movies, regardless of who's in.
Sure,
and original, which will be nice change of pace. It may not make $1 billion, but I think critically it'll do pretty darn well. And always go with the Oscar winner there. That's a good pick there. So Erik, your team 4th pick. I would assume that would be Kevin.
That's going to be Kevin.
So Kevin,
yeah.
Why don't you go on?
So
and pick
going by that similar logic behind choosing a film like Jordan Peele's Nope, we also went with a horror movie that we think would do well, and that is Scott Derrickson's The Black Phone. A movie that the initial buzz seems to be pretty positive. We all love Ethan Hawke, and this is a very interesting role for him as well. And it looks to be like that kind of horror blockbuster that people would go to the theaters to check out. And the thing about horror movies too is that the budget doesn't always have to be that high. It's generally just low, and it makes its money back opening weekend. And it's a pretty safe, reliable choice.
They made this movie for peanuts compared to everything else on this list.
It's Blumhouse, right? So it's like the Blumhouse $5 million factor, right? It's a low budget, high reward. Last time they worked together, Hawke and Derrickson, they made Sinister, pretty good little film that made a decent chunk of money. Yeah, it's a really, really good pick. All right, Nicole Ackman, you are up.
Okay, we are going to take Top Gun Maverick. It's got a Lady Gaga song. That's it. No, I'm kidding. Kind of. But I think, Tom Cruise is sort of one of the true movie stars that I think we still have. And I think people are going to be really excited to see this movie. Obviously, it's already creating buzz. And I think it's going to sell tickets.
Yeah. Also, too, like the Gaga stands will go out for it, just like they did House of Gucci. They're going to want to hear that song. And the Miles Teller fans and the Miles Teller fans. Yeah. Everybody loves them. Yeah. And what's the Glenn Powell stands out there.
Okay, well that
Glenn Powell.
That's me actually.
Yeah, there you go.
I get that.
Yeah.
Me, the John Hamm fan.
Yes.
Jennifer Connelly stands.
Know that Gaga's not in Top Gun though.
Doesn't matter. We don't have to.
And then they can buy the song on March.
They're easily fooled.
3rd.
You know what I mean?
Eric, do you think that matters to them?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
They're clamoring for content. All right.
I don't know because we can look at a lot of stan culture and be like, why has Kristen Stewart had massive blockbuster success with her indie movies or any of her movies,
but the Gaga stans are a different breed.
Well, that I know is true.
Also,
sure.
She hasn't started a Top Gun movie either.
Well,
so,
all of the movies Taylor Swift has done songs for have done so well at the box office.
Yeah.
No, Taylor Swift fans and Gaga stans are not the same level of crazy.
Yeah.
Like
Swifties are worse.
Oh, all right. We're gonna go on to the next pick, the fifth and final pick of the positive picks, at least here on the draft. And so, Eric, I'm assuming it's going to be you closing it out. So, what are you picking for your team here?
We actually went back and forth on quite a few things when we got to this point, and I'm sure you guys did too. Where your top 5 you felt pretty good about, and then as you get further down, and a part of that really spoke to that it feels a bit like a bleak summer.
Yeah,
and we started just kind of chipping away at a lot of things, and again, this was tough. But we landed on a Baz Luhrmann's Elvis.
Wow.
And it's probably got a significant budget.
Yeah.
And as soon as you find out what the budget is, Ryan, just let me know.
I will. Because you'll fall out of your chair. You know what I mean?
Believe me, we think this budget is.
Oh, yeah, no.
It's Baz Luhrmann. If it's not big, what are we doing?
Exactly. I do think it's a risky pick. I think it's a one that can pay off.
This is our no guts, no glory pick.
It is.
I respect it. I do.
The international love for Elvis Presley just goes so deep, and it has for 60, 70 years. Mm-hmm. So we're not looking at it as like a Bohemian Rhapsody exactly, but I think that we feel pretty good about this pick.
Like if it does Rocket Man numbers, that's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Right? Like Rocket Man did a decent chunk of change, right?
Well,
yeah, and Elvis is much bigger than Elton John. So.
Yeah. Again, it's all going to depend on that budget. If it's 100 million or if it's 200 million.
No, and I'm just hoping
with Baz
for
Luhrmann, you don't know.
Cool $500 million budget. That's what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? I'm thinking just Baz going all out. Like this is the last ride. That's what I think. No, it's an interesting pick. One would even say that might be like a borderline bomb pick, but that's I think why we kind of steer away. But it's got high risk, high reward. And you gotta take those chances. Speaking of which, we're not going to do that. I think we're going to go with something safe here for our last pick, because like the last film of this sequel did pretty well at the box office, and people, and I mean, they're sort of like down the middle picks, but and I agree with you, Eric. There's like, do you pick a real indie film that's not going to make anything? I steered away, I think, towards the A24 thing because they, not every movie is going to be everywhere, everything everywhere all at once. So we went with Downton Abbey 2 because it's already gotten pretty decent reviews. The first one made a good chunk of change. Those fans are very devoted, and your mom's got to go see a movie. And she's going to go see those those gowns, beautiful gowns. You know, it's got what is it, Hugh Dancy's in this one now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And, Dominic
Dominic
West. Yeah, and that's a really popular series that just also those budgets aren't really that expensive when you really look at it. It's actually a pretty cheaply made movie, even though like they make it look very extravagant. It's all mostly done in like one location anyway. So we went with Downton as our pick for number 5.
We had that in our last slot.
Yeah.
So I said this earlier today. I think that is sort of like going to be the test flight for whether the box office is really back this year or not, because that's the audience that has been sort of like they've been having trouble to get to come to theaters, but this is what they would come out for.
Yeah.
I also can confirm that it's a good movie.
Yeah.
And my mother already has tickets booked for it twice.
We had insider information on that. Okay, so we are done with all the positive picks. We will run down those picks here in a second, because right now we're here for the bomb picks. This is where we're going to be less friendly towards one another. And since Eric's team went first, we get to go first here. So we're going to give you guys something, and I believe it's Mr. Josh Parham that's going to deliver you this bad news. So Josh, why don't you go on ahead and tell the lovely contestants what they've won today?
I actually don't want to do this.
Okay.
Because, and I'll tell you why. Because I think this movie is so perfect that I had never heard of it until somebody in our group explained it to me.
Good job,
so, yeah, somebody else could explain what the hell this thing is.
Nicole?
Okay, so we went with The Man from Toronto. Raise your hand if you've heard of it.
We did our research.
Okay, yeah.
For the listeners at home, 4 hands for Eric's team just went massively sky high up. So there you go.
But if
most people have not heard of it, and Ryan, what was the budget for it?
It's a good $75 million budget for this one. Yeah.
Yeah. So good luck making that back.
Yeah, just seem like a gift you want to give everyone. You know, that'll be the real test, Dan, to see if people want to go back to the cinema or not.
You are underestimating Kaylee Cuoco fans. I am telling you that right now.
Yeah, everyone's gonna dress up. Everyone's gonna dress up as Sheldon to go see that film for sure.
There's probably a good 5 million worth of them, so there'll only be 70 million in the red.
Well, just wait until you hear it.
Oh God. Okay. Well, Eric, who is representing you, your bomb pick to give to us here, and what's the film?
That was actually a really good pick on your guys' part. So I applaud you. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I'd actually like to hand this over to Sophia to
Oh my God.
deliver.
Yeah,
Deliver the death blow.
This one, it's really, really tough. When we saw the budget for this movie, we were shocked that it was as high as it was. Let me just confirm with my team that we're doing the correct one here.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
This is a live action film.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So this was a best-selling book, and the author is a racist. You can read the New Yorker profile.
Yes.
Has a very problematic past, and we don't see this movie making back the budget, even with the Taylor Swift song, and that is Where the Crawdads Sing.
How much is the budget?
47 million.
Oh, that's a lot of crawdads. All right. That's a lot of shrimp to peel.
So,
all right.
Yes. While she's the author of the book, I don't know her involvement in the movie itself. This is one of those Reese Witherspoon Hello Sunshine efforts.
Oof.
It's going to be tough. I think the critics are going to have a hard time with it.
Well, we do have a pretty recent example of a very problematic author and their new film absolutely flopping. So
yeah,
I think that's why that flopped.
It didn't help. That's Nicole, it didn't help. I think we almost thought about that maybe as like a fifth pick too, because like I think that movie could go either way, because people also could just be like, to hell with it and go see that, because it is sort of like the trailers are billing it as like a romantic film and stuff like that too.
The Southern moms will not care.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And you know, so there was that idea as well, but you know, I can also see that too. There were some other films that we haven't picked yet, and we can get to those here in a second. So, Eric, you guys want to run down your picks here real quick and just give the listeners one last time what you guys ended up picking for your 5 films and what your bomb pick is?
For our 5, yes. Lightyear,
Mhm.
Jurassic World Dominion, Minions: The Rise of Gru, The Black Phone, and Elvis. 3 of those are Universal films.
Yeah.
Which is really,
Shout out Universal.
They have quite a stranglehold on the summer in a way that maybe Marvel is used to. So I think it's going to be a really interesting battle between Disney, Marvel, and Universal this year. I think it's going to be great.
You also have your bomb pick, which is
And the
man
bomb pick is
the man from Toronto.
Is it when the crawdads sing, where the crawdads sing?
No,
No,
your
the one
bomb-
that they've given to us.
Yeah, the
Oh.
one that we gave you is the man from Toronto.
Oh yes,
from
the
Toronto.
man from Toronto, which is
Yes.
going to make $500 million. Joke's on you guys.
People
Well,
love the flight attendant.
That's true.
We even joked about this.
Ugh.
Like I was like, hey Dan,
Yeah,
have you seen this movie called The Man from Toronto?
we did. We're all like, what even is this? How much was its budget? What is this doing?
Isn't that like just the most attractive sounding title ever to a movie?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you totally want to go see a movie called The Man from Toronto?
Yep.
And it's like you're talking about it with your friends. Have you seen The Man from Toronto?
It's
Who
kind of-
is the man from Toronto? I don't know.
just a big question mark on the poster.
They were
Who is
all
it?
seeing the Crawdad movie, so they didn't know about it.
There you go. Well, our picks were Thor: Love and Thunder, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Nope, Top Gun: Maverick, and Downton Abbey 2. What is it, like The Legacy Continues or something like that is what the movie's called? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
A new legacy.
A new
New
era.
Legacy.
A new
That's
era.
A new
right. New
era.
era. I'm sorry. I don't even know my own title of the film. And our bomb pick is Where the Crawdads Sing, which will make $600 million to counteract The Man from Toronto. Were there any other films that we didn't mention that were close? There was one film that I was so hesitant on whether it's a bomb or whether it's going to be a hit, and that was Bullet Train. Bullet Train.
We didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
I had no idea what to do with that movie, because it's got big stars, but then it's also not existing. It is IP, right? Because it's like based off like a book or something, right? But it's like it's not a huge IP. It's in the middle of summer. It's going to be
It's
probably
not IP
R-rated.
the way that we consider IP.
Yeah.
It's not Harry Potter, it's
Yeah.
not Marvel.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh my God, we went back and forth on this quite a bit because the budget is surprisingly not astronomical.
Mhm.
It's only like $80 million.
But
But-
still, like, is it going to make $80 million? You know what I mean? Like, that's the
Yeah,
question.
that was the thing we were talking about, like trying to choose between like that or something like Top Gun Maverick, which it has all the ingredients but is a very American centric story and franchise. But Tom Cruise is a much bigger international superstar than Brad Pitt.
Yeah. No,
But
for sure.
by how much? Like, yeah.
That one was one. Did you? I know my team. We have our spreadsheet up. Josh, Tyler, Nicole, was there one like when we were talking about it too that you were sort of on the fence about? No.
No, I think that we basically covered
We got-
most of it. I think like what Eric said, there's not a whole lot of variety. I feel like this summer, like Bullet Train was really the only one I was thinking of. And oh man, it does feel like it could go either way. I hope it's great. I hope it makes a lot of money. It looks good. It's probably actually my most anticipated film of the summer. But yeah, it's not based on familiar IP. It's a mostly original concept to people. And yeah, it's under $100 million, but that's still not cheap. So it feels like it could go either way. And I can understand why neither of us picked it.
Yeah. Trying to figure out.
One.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Nicole.
Another
go
one
ahead.
that I know that we were one that we were thinking could go either way was the Bob's Burger movie. Because it is like a familiar, it is a show that people are into. But at the same time, I could see it doing terribly. So,
that was actually our alternate bomb pick.
Yep.
Because the tracking for that is showing a total max gross of 14 million.
We had it on our bomb pick too, but we were also like, or it could do I don't think it was gonna do great, but or it could do just fine.
It could break even.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to do that to you guys.
I'm sure critically it'll be okay too.
Yeah.
Well, that was kind of where we were going, is because it's almost impossible to make an animated film for, let's say, less than 75 million.
Yeah.
The Simpsons movie made 100 million. That's a pittance compared to what you sort of think that a Simpsons movie would make.
Yeah.
So why in the world would Bob's Burgers get anywhere near that? So
that was when people were still watching The Simpsons.
Yeah,
no, for sure. I also thought about 3,000 Years of Longing, because I don't know how much that movie, how big that budget's going to be for George Miller, and I was like, that movie is going to come out late summer, right in our cutoff period. It's not going to be Mad Max level, because even Mad Max did not make technically its money back.
No.
And so, but we didn't have a budget on it. So we just didn't, we're like, we don't want to find out. It's like, oh, it's $10 million film. And you're like, what the hell? And I mean, so and then I think it'll most likely do decently well with critics, so unless
it's got an August 31st release. So it was literally the last possible day of eligibility for this game. And we did talk about it a little bit, but I mean, again, the lack of visible budgets on a lot of these things made a lot of it risky. And that was potentially one. I mean, I don't know. I think this movie is probably going to make $500. So, it might.
That was just enough on the prosthetics for Idris Elba's ears, evidently.
It might be a pretty good bomb pick. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
That date is
bad. Yeah, it's not a good sign. Not a good sign.
The other one that we just did not know what to do with was DC League of Super Pets.
Yeah.
Because that could make a lot of money, but also what the hell was the budget on that movie? We don't know.
Eric's number one anticipated film in the summer.
Yeah. I mean, that was actually I feel like a pretty legitimate possible pick. We already have 2 animated films, which we think are going to do significantly better, but it's Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart. It's a title that is desperately trying to capture
the canon
IP and canon. But there was no way we were going to be able to realistically try and make it an all animated lineup.
That would be a lot for a lineup. So and then there was just small films that probably will do well critically, Men just premiered or had a screening the other night, and then there's Marcel the Shell, which I know that's a movie. It's not going to make diddly in the box office, but damn it, that's not going to be critically hailed as one of the best films of the summer. And
it already has been, because
and I already and it's great, it's wonderful. Everyone
that is one of those that we considered is this in a normal year, this could be a huge word of mouth hit relative to its budget.
For sure. For sure. Well, that's our draft. We've done it. We now have our teams. We now have the board is set, and we will see who is going to win this thing and who's going to lose, and have the unfortunate pleasure of having to review a movie from the other team. I think the other team, Eric's team, doesn't want to say what their movie is yet. They're keeping it close to the chest, or
I think we're going to hold back on that until
okay. Well, we'll do the same, and it'll just be the agonizing dread of you guys losing, and then having to face the music for that film down the road.
I mean, since we're not expecting to lose, that's you can keep.
We don't expect a lot of things in this world,
to yourself for the entire summer.
Yeah,
but I'll be really curious to hear what listeners think about the teams and each of our lineups, and who they think made the better decisions ahead of everything being released. I'm very, very into what people think.
I'm just
Y'all remember Team Edward versus Team Jacob? Team 1 versus Team 2. Let's do it.
yeah, let's do it.
Team Ryan versus Team Eric.
An awards watch divided. Can I say no? I love it. And it's gonna be great to see it go up and down as these drafts go, and especially since the first week, our team's up. Like our film literally starts next week. So
I know. Imagine if you flop right at the beginning.
I know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're not, but you go right on ahead.
I mean, the AMC app was crashing from people trying to buy tickets to that.
So
I think it will be fine this
week.
I
think Doctor Strange will do pretty damn well for itself. So
I don't know. I think that might have been China just trying to keep people from
You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here first. All right.
One thing I am very curious for you guys, for your team, is I'm genuinely curious whether Doctor Strange would do better or if Thor would do better.
I think they're both really good.
Doesn't really care for us. It doesn't really matter.
I think, in all honesty, they're going to probably do about the same. Like, they're going to do pretty darn well because I don't think they'll do like Spider-Man level, but they're going to still do pretty darn well considering the fact that, you have all this multiverse stuff, all these surprises supposedly in this new Doctor Strange, which we're going to talk about next week on the show and give it a review and some thoughts and talk about everyone's favorite, especially Sophia's favorite, the MCU. And then with Thor Love and Thunder, you have that great response from the trailer that just came out. You have the Guardians in there. Like I said, you have Natalie Portman back. You have Christian Bale playing the baddie. So there's a lot of aspects to go for that movie too. I don't know which one will do better. I gotta have that's why I think we know which one's going to do better. We picked Thor Love and Thunder first. So I think that one will do a little bit better, but we shall see.
I just keep wondering when the Marvel bubble is going to break, because the first movie to really do poorly by Marvel standards there's going to be think pieces written for months.
Wasn't that kind of like Eternals though?
Yeah, Eternals.
Like Eternals didn't do that.
But great. I mean of stuff that we already have, like Thor's and Strange's and existing things.
It'll
sequels.
be I think it might be something where it's not having a team up aspect to it or cameos, but that seems to be the way that the model is going. We'll talk about it next week. That's going to be a really fun episode to talk about Marvel. So that's it for this first episode. It's been great and everything. And so we're going to close it out here by just saying where you can find us on the internet, as well as giving a quick recommendation to something that we want you to see. Maybe it's a television show, maybe it's a movie. So Sophia Ciminello, I'll kick it off with you first. Where can they find you and all your amazing work on the internet, and a movie or television show to recommend for everyone?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at Sophia_Sim, CIM. And you can also find my podcast that I host with my friend Nick. It comes out every Thursday. It's called Oscar Wilde. You can find us wherever you find podcasts, and on Twitter and Instagram at Oscar Wilde Pod. And a movie recommendation I have. So my favorite director is Robert Altman, and this week I rewatched Three Women, which is a very underrated Altman movie with Sissy Spacek and Shelley Duvall giving amazing performances. It really blew me away, and it's hard to really share what it's about without giving anything away. So I'll leave it there and just say it really stays with you. And it's not on streaming. You do have to rent it, or if you have the criterion, definitely watch it in that format. But highly recommend Three Women.
That's a good movie. God, I love them. I love Altman. God,
me too.
What a great guy. Nicole Ackman, same question.
Okay. You can find me on the internet, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd at Nicole Ackman 16. I have a link tree and all those places to the different places that you can find my work, my podcasts, my everything. And then what I'm going to recommend, shockingly for me, it's a TV show. I'm officially in the time of year where I'm trying to catch up on TV, and I'm only a few episodes in, but I'm already super addicted to Our Flag Means Death, which is on HBO Max. Listen, they had me at gay Blackbeard played by Taika Waititi. But I'm obsessed. I love this sort of historical show. Yeah, Kevin, that was
Yeah, Kevin, you just blew Kevin's mind.
The whole cast is fantastic. It's some really interesting, in terms of like gay representation. I think it's fascinating. Like, what could possibly be better than gay pirates? And especially with Taika involved. It's everything I've ever wanted. So I watched 4 episodes in a row, and I never binge watch anything. I never can sit through more than like 2 episodes. So that is like the highest praise I can give a TV show.
I've heard it's really good. I've heard it's really, really good. I need to watch it. Yeah. Dan Bayer.
It is.
HBO Max.
It's like a gay Black Sails.
Oh, okay.
Which was also gay.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, Black Sails was pretty gay.
Yeah,
But
Black
like
Sails was pretty
it's
good.
this
It's
kind
gayer.
of gay.
Actual
But
gay.
like-
yeah.
Yeah.
There's
This
gay
kind
and
of
then
gay.
there's gay.
Yeah, it's intentionally
exactly.
gay.
Yeah, there you
Yes.
go. Dan Bayer.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Dancin' Dan on Film, where I will be talking a lot in the coming weeks about the upcoming Tony Award nominations.
Yes.
Very exciting time in New York. But my recommendation of the week is something that I literally just started watching this evening. Heartstopper on Netflix is the cutest thing I have maybe ever seen. I'm only gotten 1 episode in before I had to get on and do this, but like, oh my gosh, I could be more in love. It's adorable British sitcom-y show about young high school gay boys, and Olivia Colman's in it.
Yeah.
So literally can't go wrong. But I had heard all the buzz, and it lives up to the hype.
Yeah, another great show that I've heard so many wonderful things about, and I can't wait to catch that. Kevin Lee, you're up, bud.
You can find me on Twitter at KLEE_film review, where I would very soon have a review out for Doctor Strange. For my recommendation of the week, it's a film that I revisited recently. Actually, there was a day where Ryan and I were actually kind of talking about this, and I'm still in this phase of just loving this film more and more. So my recommendation of the week is Denis Villeneuve's Arrival, a film that I adored back in 2016, and having seen it again recently, I felt like it has only gotten better.
God, the movie's so good. I think we all love that movie, right? Everybody? Yeah, nodding. Yeah, for the most part. No, no.
Love it.
Josh, never
I
mind.
didn't say I hated it. I didn't say I hated it. I didn't say that.
It's okay, Josh. It's okay.
I'll
Josh.
say it's probably his best movie, and I'm not a big Villeneuve fan, but
Okay.
it's good. It's good.
Okay. Josh, where can we find you in a recommendation?
You can find me on Twitter at JR Parham, and I am also going to recommend a TV show, which I don't normally watch a ton of TV, but I have been getting into some more series lately. And the one I'm going to say is the one I just finished, and that is Slow Horses. And I really liked it. It's really interesting because it's a like spy thriller, but it's also got a lot of comedy in it too. And Gary Oldman is in the center. He's sort of doing like a George Smiley if George Smiley was just really crass and like drunk half the time, but it's still so good. And it's a pretty contained story too, which I really appreciated. And Jack Lowden is in it as well. So yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. And they've already filmed the 2nd season that's coming soon. So you don't have to worry about being left off, even though it ends pretty well at the same time. So yeah, I would recommend that one.
Apple TV Plus. Correct,
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Man, Apple TV Plus. They got a lot of stuff going on right now. Seems to be the place to be. Tyler Doster, your turn.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Tyler M. Doster, Doster. My recommendation this week is also a TV show, which it will most likely be every time I'm on here. There's only 2 episodes out right now, but I implore everyone to watch Under the Banner of Heaven on Hulu. You can find me talking about it a little bit on Twitter, but it is about a Mormon man who is a detective, and he's kind of going through religious extremism and finding himself and his faith and figuring out what that all means to him. It's a great performance by Andrew Garfield so far. And like I said, it's only 2 episodes out. So it's something you can get into pretty easily.
Yeah, I believe you can find that on Dowd's favorite streaming platform, Hulu.
Hulu.
And Erik Anderson.
I like Nicole. I am playing a lot of catch up with TV right now because it's, post Oscar season. We go right into Emmy season, and it's like, oh yeah, by the way, here's 35 new fucking shows that you need to watch. So I'm playing catch up with stuff that's already on, as well as watching screeners and trying to just get as much under that I can. And thankfully, Nicole and Dan already covered the gay stuff. That's bless you both. Because my pick is actually We Own This City on HBO, which is very much a spiritual sequel to The Wire, which is my favorite show of all time. It is not easy to have a cop show essentially like this in 2022 after the last 5 years. And it's a big risk, and the payoff is extraordinary. It is very much like The Wire in storytelling, in incredible dialogue. And there are also several actors from The Wire now in this, and everywhere from like the kids that were dealers in The Wire are now cops in We Own This City. And John Bernthal is the lead, and he's the central focus, even when he's not really a part of an episode. And he's, of course, incredible and awful and evil. And I don't know. I just can't recommend it higher because it is such intense drama. But, that might not be your thing. And you might want a gay pirate comedy, and you have that available to you as well. I think We Own the City just is airing its 2nd episode tonight, Sunday, but I'm like 5 into it.
Oh,
it is incredible. It's amazing.
All right, and that is on HBO and HBO Max. Correct?
HBO Max.
David Simon, one of the great creators of our time.
Yeah,
cannot wait for that, especially for the Bernthal of it all. You can find me. Oh, where can they find you, Erik? You didn't say that. Where can they find you?
Oh, that's right. I was trying to keep that secret. Yes, you can find me here, obviously, because you are listening to the AwardsWatch podcast. So you can find me at awardswatch.com, on Twitter at awards_watch.
Exactly. And you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Ryan McQuade 77. You can find my work here at AwardsWatch, as well as In Session Film and Film Speak. You can catch my other podcasts over at In Session Film Extra Film over there, or you can follow my other podcasts, Acting Out, with myself and Mitchell Beaupre. And for my recommendation this week is a television show, and I am terrible at catching up with television shows. Tyler knows this. Erik knows this. I think everybody else here knows that I'm terrible at catching up with television shows, but I'm trying my best and trying to cram as much in because we will be covering Emmy stuff, like I said. And so I have binged watched the first 2 seasons, and I need to go watch the new episodes tonight of HBO's Barry, which is an extraordinary comedy. I mean, everyone for the last 3 years or 4 years has been saying, Ryan, you're going to really love the show. Ryan, you're going to really love the show. And I'm like, yeah, I know I'll really love the show. And I sat down and I watched the show, and I'm like, yeah, I really love this fucking show. It's really fucking good. And Bill Hader is extraordinary. But then there's like Stephen Root and Henry Winkler, who are extraordinary. And it's just the whole acting ensemble. And my heart out there for Hank. I love Hank. He's so great. And so, yes, please, for the love of God, go out there, watch Barry. It's so good. And it's actually really simple to watch it because it's only like 8 episodes for the first 2 seasons, and they're about 25 minutes apiece. So you can get it done in like a night if you wanted to. Like if you really just didn't want to go to bed, you could really do it.
I binged the whole second season in a day, like last week.
There you go. There you go. It's great. And yes, the new season's going on right now.
You're not ready for the new season.
I'm not.
I'll just tell you that.
The first episode. Oh my god.
You're not.
Okay, then I have
crap.
Yeah,
we have to close out so I can go watch it. But yes, we will be back next week. We will be talking about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and then we will also talk about other MCU stuff, news, do some more games. Send your listener questions and everything over to Eric or myself on Twitter. And thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you all next time.